Agut Voch Rabboisai. Nishmasi mi Rosaris Basmordechai. Baruch שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. You know, after the 6-day war, many people became Bali Tshuva. You saw the Yad Hashem. I think we see the Yad Hashem in our generation. We see that this mighty army is garnished mitnished on October 7th. Nothing. They allow all these people, they can't even put up one helicopter in the air for 8 hours. I don't know how many hours. This with all their intelligence and everything, they know everything. They know where this guy is in every bunker, but they don't know that all these people are coming in. And Mitzat Sheni, so whoever thinks that it's them or this, you look, you see, it's Yad Hashem, from the bad to the good. And all these missiles that come in from our enemies, nothing, garnished. So how do you explain it? You could say, okay, yeah, it's a mikro, and it's so good on defense. You could be a fool. And what happened on October 7th? You're so good, but you're so bad. Oh, but now we're ready. No. You have to open up your eyes. If you open up your eyes, you mamish see Yad Hashem. They said, I forgot when it was, somebody got on and said, the first day that we start up with Hezbollah, since they have 150,000 missiles, so you could expect 15,000 bodies in Israel, 15,000 dead people in Eretz Israel. That's what you should expect. So they say, it's like a fracture of a missile fell and hit somebody on his hand, I think. He needs surgery in his hand. That's so far. Kosh Baruch Hu should keep on helping. We're to the point, it's sad. I was watching in Mincha, we're saying Tehillim. Half the shul walked out. There's no need for Tehillim. You need Tehillim. We're not in Sakana. What's Sakana? You don't even have to say Kapitel Tehillim. It's too much, this Tehillim business. I think we take it for granted, and we have to open up our eyes and see who runs the world. Oh, so powerful, you could kill a guy in a bunker and some of this. Not style guy, all the top guys. They had the whole thing, everybody. Boom, boom, the whole thing. Mitzat Sheni, 1,300, 3,000, 4,000 crossing the border. They push this on motorcycles, little zachin with knives. They're killing people. Peleplite. So we have to say thank you to Hashem, and we should have a good kibbutz shiur. We should see the geula. That's what we need, the geula. Ari checking now says, the Chavei Rebelli, as the year comes to an end and we look forward to another wonderful, successful year, I personally want to thank you for making my life so much more meaningful. He's a Rebbe in Torah Vadas. By utilizing every extra minute of my day reviewing the Daf. Example, since I started Brachas Daf Beis, here's something that changed in his life. I didn't turn on the radio in my car even once. People come into the car, they listen to the news, they listen to music, they listen to sports. Instead, I listen to the Daf every time I go anywhere, and the Daf comes along with me at all times. A simple advice to not fall back over the 3-day Yontiv is to take a few minutes over Yontiv and read the Daf of the day in the Gemara or in English. Then you can always catch up after Yontiv by listening to Yeshurim. It's been working for me. We heard great psuras. You're checking out. Looking forward for the Shabbaton. Dear Rebelli, I've started the Daf. How do you say this word? Begrudg. It's too complicated for me. Begrudgingly. Since Daf Kuf Aleph Bamitzia. Hashtag not stopping now. What are you making fun of me over there? I have for the last 15 years not had a solid kvias in learning. Being that I was a geschmacking geman that had spent several years in BMG Koilel and pasnished to learn. Now, you could say that this email is fabricated. However, there's a few rights. If I feel that the email is not real, I usually don't read it. This one is real. Left his name, and he has a few rights here. So he says he was a younger man in Koilol, and Daf Yomi is pasnished, especially without Rishonim, certainly never to peek into the arts of Chas v'Shalom. Can I express myself enough how this has changed my day? Today, my day-to-day life learning the Daf via YouTube. I got off my high horse, stooped down to balabas status, and aliyah l'tzoyich yerida, probably learning more this way than I've learned in Koilol. Everything around me seems to be uplifted in the positive direction as well, with family, business, etc. I'm super jealous of your schar. It may sound cliche, but I'm telling you with utmost confidence, you have turned my life around. I couldn't believe when I heard you mention that you learned in Beis Yitzchak. I was there in years 82 and 84. I think I do remember the name Stefansky. My Zayder Rebbitzen Milstein was the 8th grade Rebbe. I remember, I learned by him. Hence the reason my father sent us there. He was a zero tolerance, albeit warm Nevardik Rebbe. I actually think one of my brothers was in your class, Pinny or Yankee. P.S. Send regards to Nachman Seltzer, family davening in our shul, the Milstein shul. This is a Zish mention. Okay. Thanks. Sincerely, Shirley Milstein. You read the Tzarech Aliyah. Erev Tov, Rabbeinu. This is in Hebrew. I want to express my heartfelt yishkoyach for the shir because of Avi Junger from Vienna. I learned with MD Weiss in Soita. And I want to say that you shouldn't say hello to people before Shachar. You shouldn't say Shalom Aleichem if it's before Shachar. Before Rav Yisrael Palak, the bells are from Antwerpen. I just received this WhatsApp from my son's Shai's Rosh Hashiva on the way back from a trip to Poland. Looked like he doesn't realize that for MD Wire this is a normal thing to do. Shlomo Spiro. The Rosh Hashiva writes, what a masmid. Hearing that the flight was delayed, he took out his Gemara and did a Chazar in today's daf for the second time. Sightseeing and being inspired at the Kivrei Tzaddik and davening in Elchanan was an amazing sight. Only continue nachas. He's a guy, he's out of this world. He put his headphones on, he's not there. This kid writes in Hebrew, my name is Ovadia Berg. He was talking about Rabbi Berg from Basra. This is his nephew. He did a shidduch with Doron. And he got Yishuv Nariya Shebishomron. Hayom ze shalosh shanim me'az shitchalti Daf Yomi. He did 3 years. Check this out. Here he is. כן. שלום, איך קוראים לך? מה השם הראשון שלך? Ovadia Berg. Berg or Berg? Berg. Anyways, he did over 1,000 daf with us. And he's only 13 and a half, 14 years old. Yeah, 1,000 daf. It's unbelievable. Rabbi Isai, the coil of the month, sponsored by Binyomin Rosenfeld for Hatzlochim business. The Masechta for the safe and speedy return for all the hostages. Parnassa Zechariah ben Moshe, Zechariah ben Yosef. Parnassa Chodesh, myself, Abba Rennert, and Dr. Moshe Tzvi Dauber. And we'll put all 4 together, matching Rebelli's donation, zchut the Chayalim for the month. Safe and speedy return of the Chayalim, zchut the Chayalim for the month. Binyomin Rosenfeld, for all the zchusim that come from supporting limud HaTorah. Parnassa Shavua, Kidnovations. Kidnovations LLC in honor of my uncle, Elchanan, Pressman, and Fishel. It should be a zchus from Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga, shidduch for Rivka, Yehudit, HaChayalim. Thank you to Rebbitzen Stefansky for selflessly giving up her husband to klal. She'll never hear this. It should be a zchus for a year filled with Mazel, Bracha, Parnassa B'revach and Refuah. Parnassa Shavua, Linishmas, Fayga, Miro, Bas, Avraham. Parnassa Yoim, Joe Sharp. Wishing Rebelli and the entire Mishpachas MDY Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga and a good gebenchte Yar. Yishkoyach Joe Sharp. Parnassa Yoim, Meir Kovacs, L'chvoit Shamshi Shlafrak. On our 3rd anniversary of joining the MDY family, Beitzin Daf Beis. You know this guy? Shkoyach, huh? Best friend. I thought the Taki's your best friend. I thought the other guy's your best friend. Out of the month of zchus for Rebelli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. Boy side, here we go. You're lucky that we have this Hebrew shir. I have to say, I left the Hebrew shir yesterday not feeling very good, and after Shabbos, went back to a lot of the charts and redid the charts. That's why I'm late. I do apologize. Bemes, Mechila. I was sure I'd be able to get here earlier with a shorter daf, but in fact, usually I do 1 daf after Shabbos, the preparation of the charts. Today was 2 daf, because I just had it add charts and make it a little bit more understanding. I even see that Reb Spiegel is one of the miyazdim of the Hebrew Shir, and he was here on Friday. He's here again now, maybe because he didn't understand what was flying. Is that what it is? Chizuk and Chazara. Elul. Okay. Shalom Aleichem. Wie heißt ihr? You're Kornblit from Ramah over there. Ramah this. And Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? You were here before?
No.
Shalom Aleichem from, don't tell me Melbourne or something like that. You live here?
Yeah,
Aleph. Where are you originally from?
Kansas City via New York via Singapore.
Which one do we like? Singapore. Schmack. Okay. Rabbi Isai, here it goes. This is what we learned, an amazing halacha. Meaning, when you buy a certain amount of wheat, you buy a saw of wheat, you should know that included in that saw of wheat, or any kind of fruit, each fruit has its own little, whatever you buy, you're going to have a few spoiled, rotten things. You're going to have 1 cup, let's call it a 1/24th of all the produce you buy in terms of wheat is going to be rocks, dirt, garbage. You got to take that upon yourself. You pay for that. That comes, says Rav Huna, and that's with wheat. We saw other things are really 10%. Wheat is 1/24th. Okay? Like 4%, right? So, says Rav Huna, what happens if you decide to sift it yourself? You sift out all the rocks, and you find that it's more than a cup worth. More than that 1 lug. Let's call it 2 cups. Says Rav Huna, tremendous chiddush. You give it back to the seller and you demand a refund on all 2 cups. Everybody gets 1 cup. You have to eat, so to speak, 1 cup. You get 1 cup of stones and you pay for that. That's great if that's all it is 1 cup. But once he breaks it and he goes above and beyond the shear, which is 1 cup, he goes to 2 cups, 2 lugin. Now he has to pay you back for everything. We saw this. Some say it's a knas. We penalize the guy. Maybe he put it in on purpose. Some say no, it's a din. That's the halacha. I got this email. I'm talking about emails, but this is more like Torah. Let me see if I could go through it quickly because it's actually 2 pages here. I love this. Shabbos Kodesh. I can't believe that 100 people are sitting and watching a shir now right before Shabbos. Some of them Beis Medrash and some of them on Zoom. And we have to thank the wives. They leave everything. They come to learn Torah. It's true. Every Shabbos here, 2:30 is in Hebrew. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. The Beis Medrash is full and there's people on Zoom. Anyway, he says like this. There's a famous Reb Chaim Volozhiner who says in Nefesh HaChaim Shar Daled, and he brings this Gemara. What? What's going on over there? Huh?
We were there.
Oh, we were there. That's what you're saying. Yeah, you and I were there in the Beis Medrash. Nobody else was able to come, unfortunately, into the Beis Medrash. We stood outside. They're rehabbing the whole place. Beautiful. They're putting these crazy grand staircases. And they said, okay, we'll let the rabbi and Gary just to take the video. Yeah, it was very special. Okay, we're inside the Beis Medrash. But we're by his caver, by Reb Chaim Volozhiner's caver. Correct. The first Shiva, where I made my big boo-boo and I got 6-7 emails. He's not the one that closed it down. It was later on, generations later. Okay, fine. Got it. The tshuva. I also made a big mistake. I'm going to say, read tomorrow. This a guy that works with insects. He says, you said that the fig wasp, it's not a wasp, it's a fly. You should know it's a wasp. Okay, the truth for that also. As long as all the mistakes are outside of the sugya, in the kvarim and in the bugs, whatever, in the sugya we got to be sure that it's not. But we make mistakes here also. Okay, fine. So he says like this: that the Nefesh HaChaim says in Perek Zayin that you have permission, and it's actually recommended in middle of learning to stop, pause, and think about the Rebbeinu Shalom. Because what people do is they learn, and they forget why they're learning and who they're learning for and what's the point of it. Stop, pause. It's not an aver fakir, it's a mitzvah. And he kind of compares it to this sugya of the 1 cup. You have a whole saw of learning, but just put 1 cup aside and it's considered part of the learning. I kind of was mechaven to it. I said going to the bathroom. I was talking about going to the bathroom thing. Okay, drinking coffee in the middle, it's part of the learning. You have to Yir Shamayim. And think about it again. And he says, Mashal, Ladim Shama the Shlucha Heli Kur Shachitin Aliyah. Our Mavis covers that. Okay. Maybe it's not Mamish, it's Gemara. I read it quickly. Fine. It's the other Gemara. But he says, you talking to me, so you also sticking your Musar, your Shamayim. He doesn't say jokes here. He's careful. The jokes also I hold. Okay, and then he has this little pshat in the Chavetz Chaim. Talk about it a different time. I'll explain it to you later. So, Toshma, the Tony Ravin by Rav Nachman. Now we're trying to see, is this Rav Huna correct? Again, my mashal, if you want to, you're allowed to take 50 pounds on a flight from one place to the other. You come to the airport, sometimes it's 51, they say, sometimes if you're lucky, today they're very much, 51, okay, go. What if you have 55 pounds? So they make you pay for all 5 pounds, even the 1 pound. They'll make you pay. You can't say, oh, but you're going to give me one for free? No, now you have to pay for every pound, let's say. Is this Yesoid true? Says Gemara, the Tani Ravin by Rav Nachman, 4 lines from the bottom of Tzadik Dalet on the base. Lo yisam moiser v'levadu machzer. So we have a very similar thing. Here it goes. You see this? That's a base core. I don't know why it flew off. A base core is like, for Americans, I was embarrassed to say this in Hebrew because it's like, wow, how can you even talk about a soccer field in Hebrew? But in English, it's a concept. It's a football field. It doesn't mean you play football, you know what football is. It's a football field. A base core is like 3 football fields, okay? Like 3 stadiums. Football, most normal people in this world, I'm not talking about people from Manchester and London, they know what the Americans mean. You Michael? Huh? No, football is football, American football. I don't know the size of a soccer field, of a football field. Okay, the pitch, the ches, what do you guys call it? Anyways, you guys could discuss it. I call Beseder. A kur is built out of 30 boxes, okay? 30 boxes of a saw each. Tzaddik, there's no talking here in the shir. If you knew, maybe you don't know this. 30 saw, there's 30 boxes. Now look at each box. Each box is built out of 6 kav. And each kav is built. Now if this sounds familiar, it should be familiar. That's the picture. Right over here, where's that picture? Here, I'll show you the picture together. It's like we were talking about, how do you say, volume. And now we're talking about area. But it's the same words almost, okay? So nachamal. A kur is built out of 30 saw, and each saw has 6 kav, and each kav has 4 quarters of a kav. So if you want to compare it to what we learned until now, it looks like something like that, right? We said a saw equals 6 kav, and a kav equals 4. We don't need to know this stuff unless you want to memorize I don't even know how to say it. Iskalav, Yegodu, whatever it is. Okay. Point is, from every box, let's go backwards. Every box, every red box, you see this box? Every box of the 30 boxes, there's one tiny box called a roiva kav, like when it comes to volume, it's a lug. See, one little box out of that, one box out of the 4 boxes all the way to the left, he can make a mistake on. So if you're selling a core, times 30, okay? Because for every saw, you get a little box. How many saw are there in a core? 30. There's 30 saws. For every saw, there's one box mistake. Okay, let me say again. If you're buying something exact, you're saying it's 100 meters by 100 meters, 1,000 feet by 1,000 feet, so it's exactly 1,000 feet by 1,000 feet. And if the seller by mistake gives you 1,001 feet, you have to give it back. Because he said before, shut that. Over here he did. He said kur. Kur, and he used the words Rabbi Yisai, hein chaser, hein yaser. So it's berach. He said the word in English, they say berach. Okay? Approximately. So approximately means that I could be off by 1 roiva kav per every saw. So a little box times 30. Now, what happens if I by mistake gave the buyer 31 boxes, 31 roiva kavs instead of 1 roiva kav? Instead of 30 roivakavs, I give him 31 roivakavs, one extra. So the guy gets back, the seller gets back all 31. Who is that like? Like Rav Huna, who says that once I find out, I sift it, and I find that there's 2 cups, then the buyer gets back all his money, not just for 1 cup, he gets all his money for all cups. You'll tell me what it is. Something's ringing my pocket.
Yes, it is.
It's those red alerts. Okay. Supposedly there was people heard. You heard the Yurutim today? People? Huh?
Nearby.
It's nearby. So Rabbi said to remind them, Chas v'shalom, we have a siren here. We're going to exit in the middle of the shir, but calmly, without panic, without killing each other. Like when I was a kid, I was in the Mir Yeshiva and there was a fire, and Peretz Chaim Levine was also there. He remembers that people panicked and they trampled each other. It's a terrible. Beroiga. Where to? That's a different child. When you're outside, you'll figure it out. This has the koyach HaTorah, but it doesn't have cement or anything. Okay, so we were in the middle of Simchas Torah last year on October 7th, and there was a guy making an aliyah, and there was a siren. And everybody said, where to? I guess this is the safest place, and they stayed. Okay, we don't mention these stories, so nobody's watching, so it doesn't really matter. So, Elo, lo yis ha-moisav avadu machzir? No, because it's not a real proper cheder mamad around there, unfortunately. So the best place is to go to this building next to us in the stairwell. That's probably the safest that I know. There's underneath us, there is, but to get in there, I don't know. What? Under the bridge of Zavitan? Really? It's pretty strong. From a time, it's open, okay. The Tani Ravim Bar Nachman, lo yisam moisav avadu machzir, el machzir lo yis kol haravoim kulan. He doesn't give back the 1 box above the 30, he gives back all 31 boxes. So you see from here, she give back everything. Says Gemara, Hachi Ashta. So, Hachi Ashta. Hasam, hein chaser, hein yaser amalei. Unbelievable. Does anybody know how to say as is in Hebrew? As is. That's how they say it in Hebrew. I didn't know this until Friday. In all documents, real estate documents, it says the word as is. In English, as is in capital. That's how it's called. I ask people, how do you say as is in Hebrew? They all scream, as is. Okay? We learn stuff. Amalei. So, hey, chaser and yaser means as is. Miu, revia loy choshev. In other words, what the Gemara is saying here, a very interesting thing. When it comes to real estate, nobody gives extra. You buy my apartment, you bought my apartment. I don't give you 2 extra feet as bakshish, as a freebie. Just what? Revia loy choshev. It's not something significant when you're buying hundreds of acres. It's a little revia. Yosem revia choshev. It is choshev. Even the chazil is tarufe. B'dishas kabin havilarach hashifta b'avinavshe v'hodra. But now, once we have a bunch, it's 31 of these revias. Now it's something chashuv. Give the whole thing back. Okay? However, top of Tzadik Amud Aleph. So therefore, but in our sugya, when we're talking about junk in the wheat, the tinoifes, the racks, this svar doesn't apply. You get, it's not because it's chashuv, not chashuv. 1 cup. Toshma. So we're talking about Hayna the whole time. Hayna. Basically, if somebody overcharges you a 6th, there's 3 halachas, the famous halachas. There's exactly a 6th, there's slightly below 6th, and slightly above 6th. What's the halacha? If it's a little bit above a 6th, batamekach, no good. Shtus, if it's exactly a shtus, what? If it's less than a shtus, it's very important, this one. Less than a shtus, it's a good sale. A little bit more, there's no sale. Shtus, and it's exactly a shtus, you have to give it back. So there's a sale, but you give back the oina. Ask the Gemara, let him go back, let him just go downwards until he gets to less than a shtus and finished. You see from here that once you give back everything, like Rav Huna says. Once you have to give back the 1 cup extra, so you take back 2 cups. There's an interesting halacha. We have to start moving here because the Israelis are going to come. I forgot about them. Very interesting halacha. Seriously. Chavetz Chaim says, this is the Chavetz Chaim. So think about this. I'll ask you the question. There's a question halacha if you're allowed to sell something that's less than a shtus. There's a certain market price, and then there's a sixth above the market price. But what if it's not a sixth? It's less than a sixth. Are you over this or not? There's a machlokes. So here's the question. It's a Peladic thing. I had a big problem with this Chavetz Chaim, and I didn't understand it at all. And Baruch Hashem, Kobe found people that talk about it, and they explain it very nicely. So I'll explain to you what. But basically, my chavrus was arguing. I didn't understand what he's talking about. So, question is, if I know you're about to buy something in a store that they're charging a little less than a shtos, and there's a machlokes whether or not he's doing a wrong thing or a bad thing, is not a wrong thing, wrong or not wrong, am I permitted to tell that guy, hey, this store sells it above it's less than a shtos, but it's still above market. Am I allowed to tell somebody that? Says the Chavetz Chaim, no, it's Lashon Hara. Listen to this. He says, since it's asur, so I'm allowed to tell. But since it's a suffix, it's considered Lashon Hara. Since it's a suffix deraisa, the store owner should definitely not do it because it's a suffix if he's allowed to do it. And the guy shouldn't say it. My question is, I don't understand why the owner of the store is better off than the buyer. Oh, you're gonna lose. The owner of the store is gonna lose a sale, and the guy buying is gonna lose the shtus. Why should he suffer? So in fact, they speak about it and they say, that's not what the Chavetz Chaim meant. What he meant to say is, just according to this, I don't know what it is even. He's just sent me a whole thing. That what he meant to say is, you're allowed to tell somebody that store is overcharging. That's not Lashon Hara. But what you're not allowed to do is if you already made a kinyan, if you already decided to buy it, then it's a problem. Okay, fine. But I thought it's an interesting halacha that the Chavetz Chaim says. You hear? The guy's about to buy something, and he can buy the same thing cheaper somewhere else. It might be Lashon Hara in certain instances. What? Market price. There's a market price, and the guy's above the market, but not according to some, it's not even usher. So it might be also to tell your friend about it. Okay. Says the Gemara. What? But he says no, that's Lashon Hara, because you're making the store owner lose. I hold like you, so that's why you have to come onto that shop. But anyway, Ayin Sham. Over there, a lot of times, I don't know about you guys, sometimes I go into the store and I'm lazy to look on Google so I ask the guy, I try to read his face, say, are you selling this thing at a normal, is that the normal price? That's what your competitors are selling? Yeah, of course. They'll never say, no, I overcharge, right? But the guy told you, he said, here, I'm charging market. So, he told him, I'm selling you the market. It's hard to discern, to see that there's a less than a shtus overcharge. People just forgive it. Shtus, but when it's a full sixth, Yediyah, then it's obvious that he's overcharging, and he's not going to be mochel in his. So, the Gemara is saying there's no comparison to our sugi. We're talking about a cup of dirt. That's included. Over here we're talking about what people know and they don't know, and how if they're mochel or not mochel. Tashma, person was hired to plant trees. Let's say he planted 100 trees. So you could assume the 10 trees are going to go bad. If 11 trees went bad, so the planter, he has to take back 11 bad trees. But a second ago we said that he gets 10 freebies. He could give him 10 trees that went bad. Oh, so you see like a Ravuna, once you go above the 10, it becomes 11. The planter has to refund all 11, not just one tree and just leave him there with the 10 messed up trees. He has to get rid of all 11. That's not a good raya either, because once you get to 11 trees, kibalita mitchila dami, then it's ki'ilu. He has it's a chashav a place. 11 trees is a makam chashav. So now it's a whole another category. It's not similar to a cup of dirt. A cup of dirt, you have to go, it's chashav. 2 cups is chashav. Not chashav. When you have 11 trees, the reason why is to give back all 11 because it's a whole nother field. Okay, new sugi Rabbi said. It says in the Mishnah, Martiv Shayayin. If I buy a cellar of wine, I could assume that 10% is on the way out. It's kind of spoiled. It's kaises. Kaises means it tastes good, but it smells terrible. It's about to be vinegar, but it tastes good. So says the Gemara, you guys had that? Not kaises, kaises. And yeah, it happens. You buy a bottle of wine, especially with expensive ones. You start, I don't know if you can drink it so much, but it definitely doesn't smell good. Okay. Echidami. Ask the Gemara Echidami. I'm going to show you a chart in a second. Everything is going to be gewaldig. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Here. If the guy says Martev Shel Yayin, he doesn't say Zeh. Zeh is this right over here. No, he just says, I want to buy a cellar of wine. Kasha, we're going to have a big kasha on the Mishnah. What exactly happened in the Mishnah? The Mishnah says you get 10% no good. 90% is good, 10% you have to take upon yourself is going to be bad. 1 bottle out of 10 is going to the garbage. When you buy a whole case of wine, just know that you're going to throw out 1 bottle. But how does it match to what we're about to learn here? And if he says the word zeh, kasha, here he says martiv zeh. Okay. Did I skip one? Okay, here it goes. If a guy doesn't use the word zeh, he just says, I'm selling you a cellar. You see over here on the right top, he doesn't say the word zeh, so you must provide him how much? 100% good wine. There is no 10% that the Mishnah mentions. So the Mishnah cannot be going according to this. This cannot be the case. This says 100%. Next case. Martiv zeshel yain, but if he says this whole cellar, now he's being very specific. It's mamish as is. This is as is. Zeh. I don't know what's in it, but that's what I want to buy. Yain equals, it's identical to the word kaises. In other words, I'm giving you Martiv Zeshel Yain. That's what we're holding. Martiv Zeshel Yain, that's the last case. So you give him 100% kaises, not 10% kaises. What?
What was that?
Yeah, but even if it's 100% kaises. So this again cannot match the Mishnah. Why? Because the Mishnah says 90% good, 10% kaises. Say kaises is purple. So if you look in the bottom, our Mishnah says Martiv Shel Yayin, doesn't say Zeh in our Mishnah, that's the bottom, the Mishnah. You give 90% green and 10% purple. Now, how does it line up with what we just learned? It's either 100% good, 100% kaisis, which is in between, it's about to go bad, or if you don't even say the word Yayin, just say Martiv Zeh, we're going to say it's 100% vinegar you give him. There's no mention of 10% in any of these 3 cases on top. We got a problem. What is our Mishnah talking about? He doesn't mention the word yayin. You give him, you didn't say the word yayin, so you give him 100% vinegar. So what's going on in our Mishnah? He says, Martiv Shel Yayin. Utni Bereisha, the Braisa. You have to add in the words in the Braisa. You see, on the right side, you have to say, we didn't put it in. You must add that to the Braisa. Our Mishnah is talking about Martiv Shel Yayin. Our Mishnah is the right case, top right corner. Martiv Shel Yayin. Just understand that it's not literally 100%. It means there's a 10% that you have to understand you're not going to get. As the Gemara, Ubistami Mikabel, what? the right top case. You didn't say zeh. He said martiv shel yayin. He gets 10%. No good. If I'm selling you one barrel of wine, it has to be 100% good. No 10%, no good. Says the Gemara, the obvious answer. We have to understand what the question is. Shani chavetz the kula chad chamru. It's one barrel. It's one barrel. How are you going to have 10% not good and 90% good? It's one barrel. It's all the same. I don't want to ruin this for Noam Fix, so don't tell the rest of the world. But Noam Fix had a great idea a few years ago. And his idea was that he's going to sell coffee in a coffee jar, but every like 2 inches down in the coffee jar, there's like a piece of aluminum foil. They have to pop out, and it gives you like a brand new coffee every time. Within the jar, you stick your hand in, you go, and you smell it again. And he looked into it, and like I think somebody already is doing it. He can't patent it. I don't know what. But if not, please don't steal his idea. He's going to be a multi-gazillionaire. Fine. That's what the Gemara understood. L'chatchila. It's one chaves, but there's like different compartments in the chaves, and you could. And the Gemara says, no. We're talking about one barrel, and it's all the same. Shalom Yisrael. Next. Hold on a second. Ask Gemara. Voch. Now we have Rav Zvid. Let's find Rav Zvid here. Oh, I forgot to show you all these. Why not? He worked on it. We got to show it. Martiv shel yayin. This is what we had on Friday. This is what he did today. This makes it a lot better because it has all three cases together, and it shows that the bottom case, which is the Mishnah, doesn't line up with any of the three cases. I asked him to do that. This is what we had on Friday. Martiv shel yayin. If a guy just uses the words without zeh, it has to be all green, all great. And if he says martiv zeh shel yayin, it's as is, it's all koises. And whatever. This is our Mishnah. Somebody sent me AI picture of myself, scary stuff. It's almost my face. Great. So, here's Rav Zvid. We have two cases in Rav Zvid. One is martiv yayin. I'm selling you a cellar of wine. It has to be 100% green. It has to be great wine. If a person says martiv zeh, then 10%. The problem is, okay, so you see that? Now. He has to give him 100% good. Martiv, so that's a problem. Martiv shel yayin and moichel noizen lo yayin shekula yafa. 100%, he says. Martiv shel yayin and moichel noizen lo yayin shekula yafa. But if he says zeh, then it's 10%. The Rishbam explains, because they say yayin means 100% good. Zeh means as is. Memelo, you get 10% kaises. You get 10% of the what? Yeah, yayin means, yeah. Sponsors, Yaakov Citron and the Citron Films and the Ilu Nishmas, the 6 hostages that were brutally killed. Now, here's the Shaila. Here's the question. This case, we have to add the word zeh. The Gemara is going to explain. We said before, it's not stam. He says zeh, so therefore it's 10%. But you see that if you don't say the word zeh, you don't have to do any percentage of this kaisis business, this almost spoiled wine. Okay? Sorry, forget this one for a second. Elo masnisinami dormali zeh. So you have to say that our Mishnah, in order to shtim with Rizvid, the reason why he gets 10% of the not good stuff is because he added the word zeh. The problem is, kashi zeh zeh. Here's the question. When you say martiv zeh shel yayin according to Rizvid, he gets only 10% bad. And according to the Brisa, he gets how much? 100% bad. Yeah, let's go back to the Brisa just to remember. Check this out. What does it say? Martiv zeh, the center case. I'm sorry. The last, not the center. The one on the left, martiv zeh shel yayin, kuloi kaisis, 100% is purple. And what does Rav Zvid say? 10% here. So here's the contradiction. Kule kaisis or 10% kaisis? What is it? Says Gemara leikashi. Oh, domer leili mikvah. This is Rav Chizda is going to say. Rav Zvid, I'm sorry, is talking about mikvah. Mikvah means to cook it in the food. There's a guy had it. This is not the. Is that a real Gemara? Because it's like, yeah, it's funny. Okay. I thought you're like one of these. Hey, give me this Gemara a second. It's very nerve-wracking when you see a guy learning like this right in front of you. But it happens to be, it's right, yeah. It's worse than a guy sleeping, I'm telling you. This is not like the funniest magnet I've ever seen, but I saw once a guy had this thing. I love cooking with wine. Sometimes I even put it in my food. So true story. Next to the MDY magnet, yeah. Like when a guy says, I'm trying to purchase wine for my food, then it has to be 100%, it has to be good. Yeah, you get 10% off. 10% won't be good, but it has to be good wine. But if he didn't say it's for my food, then you don't have to be so careful. Why? So he said it's for my food, so it's good. But since he added the word zeh means, how do we translate the word zeh? As is. So mainly you get 10% off, 10% not wine. Braisa, the reason why the Bryce is 100% not good wine, it's kaisis wine, because he didn't say it's for food. Oh, so we'll stop there for a second. I just want to show you these videos. I don't think Yoshi, when he put this in, he knew who he's talking about. But anyway, this is not for mikvah. I just thought it's funny. The Queen of England, what wine does she drink?
But among the vintage labels are a few surprises.
Astonishingly, one of her favourites is Matthews Rosé, which a lot of people sneer at as a nothing wine from Portugal.
They serve very good champagne. It used to be Veuve Clicquot, which really is a major treat in itself. But now with all the economies, it comes from Tesco's.
Tesco, you know what Tesco is? Kids is $5 wine. That's what she drinks, Her Majesty. Aleh Shalom, she's not alive anymore, right? It's like what? Okay, Kitzer. And this is also the mikvah. I had no idea what this guy is, but they told me later on that he's the most famous.
To give body to the sauce, stir a teaspoon of tomato puree.
This is the mikvah. This is how they make wine, and then this is how you cook with wine.
Cooking out the tomato puree. Otherwise, it just goes in there raw, and it gives this sort of tartness to the very short ribs.
No. But for this, listen what he says. Cheap wine.
Use an expensive bottle of red wine. There's no need.
No need. Okay, no need. He says before it's no need. But that what? Hold on a second. Oh, I have to tell you this. This is going to get to Rosh Hashanah. First of all, we'll switch it for Rosh Hashanah. There was a king that had a birthday, and the island decided to throw him a birthday party. He said, okay, but we don't have money for all this wine. There's going to be thousands of people. So everybody come by. They'll put a giant vat, throwing a bottle of wine. Okay, so people come by. You see everybody pouring wine. And they come in. And then they told the king, they honored him with taking out the first cup of this unbelievable blend, all the Merlots and the Cabernets and everything. It's going to be unbelievable. So he takes his goblet, this gold goblet, and he opens it up, and out comes water. What happened? Everybody thought that the other guy is going to bring the nice bottle of wine, and I could get away with just, pretending and put in so the Mashal Ma'adav for us. Coming Rosh Hashanah, so we think to ourselves, look, I have my stuff. I don't have time for this gula. Hashem should finish the war, save the Chayalim, this, that. I've got to take care of my kids and my Parnassa and whatever I have. So I'm going to daven this. Let the other guy daven. Kids, nobody ends up davening for what we need. We need a gula. So the Olam should sit back and think about it and daven for Mashiach. Zog the Gemara. Ilkoch. Now we have a conclusion here, a sikum, which usually means that not the Gemara, because it's very uncommon for the Gemara to do this. to do like a synopsis of what we just learned. Hilkach. So they say it's the Goinim. So, Hilkach. Martiv shel yayin v'omer leile mikpa. If a guy says the words Martiv shel yayin, and he's, I have to show you here. It's Pashat. Okay, I forgot to do it here. This is the Gemara's answer. When it's lemikpa, so it's 90% good, 10% no good. And when it's loy lemikpa, then you can give him complete toises. Great. Now, I don't know what I just did. Okay. Says the Gemara. Martiv shel yayin v'omer leile mikpa. Like we said over here, noisin leyayin shekula yafa. Not good. Let's get off this thing. So if he says, I'm buying a whole cellar of a wine, and I added the words mikpa, I have to give him 100% good wine. Martiv zeh shel yayin. Once he sticks the word in zeh, even though he said I want for cooking, noisin leyayin shekula yafa mukabel alaves kaises. Remember, zeh means as is, so you add a little 10%. Martiv zeh shel yayin v'lo yomer leile mikpa. If he says this seller, but he did not add the words lemikpa, then what's the halacha? What's the yayin and nimka b'chanos? Kai says 100% not good wine, but it's wine. Ibailu martiv shel yayin v'lo yomer lemikpa mai. What if? Here we go. This case. Forget the end. I put over there 10%. Just grab this chart. Martiv shel yayin. What's missing over here, Rabbi Isai? 2 words are missing. What's missing? Zeh. You don't say. It doesn't say martiv zeh shel yayin. What else is missing? Mikpa. So what happens if you say martiv shel yayin? How much do you have to give here? You didn't say zeh. Zeh sticks in 10%. No good. But he didn't say it. And to get 100%, we said you have to say mikpa. Okay. Machlok is whether or not you can give him 10% no good stuff. Let's see what we have here. Okay, here we have Rav Zvid. This is all Matzah Shabbos stuff. The Israelis are going to get jealous now. Fregnished. I have to tell them to leave so they don't get. Rav Zvid said, Rav Shpika Kvar Yoshev Kan. Rav Zvid says, Martiv yayin lemikpa. We added the word mikpa. And if you say mikpa, what's the halacha? You have to give him 100%. Kulayaf. The Brisa says, Martiv yayin doesn't say the words mikpa, and you have to give 100%. So now I can be medayik from both. If I want, I can go to the right and say, look, Rav Zvid said, when do you get 100% when you add on this big word mikpa? And if I don't say the word mikpa, like in the Gemara's question, right? Where's that question? Here. You see, it doesn't say the word mikpa. So what should be the halacha if it doesn't say the word mikpa? If I'm going with Rav Zvid, you don't have to give 100%. Only if you use the word mikpa is 100%. Or I can go with the Brisa. The Brisa doesn't use the word mikpa, and I still have to give 100%. So now, I'm asking you a question. The guy didn't say the word mikpa. 100% or not 100%? Well, the Brisa is 100%. According to Rav Zvid, not 100%. So it depends how you medayik. Let's go weiter. Man domer mekabel daik mit Rav Zvid. I said it the whole sugya already by heart. We just run through it. The one who says you get 10% because he learns from Rav Zvid. We added the word mikpa. You see Rav Zvid on the right, this is the word mikpa. So the Gemara is medayik. It's only because he said the word mikpa, I'm using it for cooking. That's why it's 100%. But if it's not for cooking mikabel, he does get 10% bad stuff. And the one that says you don't add 10% bad, he learns from the green one. It doesn't say the word mikvah. Without the word mikvah, you still get 100% good wine. Now, just simple. I can learn from the right, I can learn from the left. Which one did I learn from? You're upset at me? I just said your name. I told everybody about your coffee idea.
Oh, really?
And the people are gonna, they said they'll send you some, they'll buy a string from you afterwards.
No one was listening.
The ganze Mishpuch is coming. You never hear him on the Shabbos. Okay, we're just finishing up here real quickly, a few lines, mamish few lines. The obvious question is, let me just go back to the chart please, Gary, here we go. Now his question is, maybe medayik from the red, maybe medayik from the green, maybe from the green to the red. Who said what you should medayik from? So the Gemara says like this. With the one that used the red, kasher brisa, but it says mafurish in the brisa that without using the word mikvah, you still get 100%. So the Gemara, you're right. We have to add a few words. You do have to add the word mikvah in the green. Fine, next. We're just going to read it. You get 10%, bad stuff. And if you medayik from the brisa that you get 100% wine and you don't get the 10% bad. What do I do with Rav Zvid? It seems like only if you use the word mikvah, but if you don't use the word mikvah, you do get 10%. Mikvah. And we said over there they have to use the word mikvah. Says Gemara, so if we go back, what is this? I'm sorry, I'm using the wrong chart. I made this. Hold on. I did this. This is Stefansky style. This is Yoshi. Sorry. Okay, fine. We'll use them next for the next year for the Americans. Yeah. Oh, this is the Americans. Sorry. Okay, so if you go back to Rav Zvid, we had two lashonis in Rav Zvid. Martiv yain kuli yafa, martiv zeh kuli yafa. And we explained in the left one, we explained that it's a mikvah. So we understood that the whole Rav Zvid is a mikvah. It's all for cooking. So you might know. The right side can be without mikvah. Why do mikvah? We only changed the left because we had the contradiction, this one right over here. We had a contradiction between the Brisa and Rav Zvid. So we said, remember, that was the answer, that the guy's cooking and this guy's not cooking. But that's only because there's a contradiction on the second part. But on the first part, there's no contradiction. Memela, there is no mikvah on the right part. Rabboisai! I'll tell you a story now. Hold on a second. Should I tell you? We have 2 minutes. I'll tell you a story. Karashana. It's not even a story. There was a guy in Russia with his horse and buggy traveling through the snow, and he had a bunch of barrels of wine in the back of on the wagon. And he was freezing cold. So he decided to cuddle up in between the barrels of wine to warm himself up a little bit. And guess what? It didn't work. So what did he do? He took out some wine from the barrel and he drank some wine, and gewaldig, he's heated up. Say Chassidische word here. We're going to be soon coming to Rosh Hashanah. Now also, you could drei zecharum with all the hoichazachin and this. But if you don't mafnem it, if you don't internalize it, you don't bring it inside, it's worth nothing. It's not going to warm up your neshama. You got to bring it inside a little bit. Rabboisai! Have a gewaldige week. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early.